Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Poholski. I am the creator of Once Upon a Pesto. Thank you for joining me today on this Instagram Live. And today we are featuring Manuel Jaco. He is living in Honduras in Central America, and he is a food fanatic. Food from all around the world. His Instagram handle is at thankmelater.10.10. And I'm just gonna make sure we can get him up here on stage. So just a moment and he will be joining us. To add comments, and if you have any questions, tag Manuel at thankmelater.10 and he will be sure to answer your questions. He has such a passion for food and cooking, and it is so exciting to have him join me today. So again, I'm Jessica with Once Upon a Pesto, and Manuel Jaco will be joining me shortly. If you have other friends who you think would be interested in watching this, feel free to message them, get them in this chat, because we're gonna have a great Q&A with Manuel. And here he is. Hello, how are you today, Manuel?
Hi, Jessica. It's so nice to be with you today.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I actually just got back home from a trip, and I was trying to get everything together to make sure that I was here on time, and I'm very excited.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I was just giving everyone a brief introduction about you and your passion for food. So tell us what inspired your passion for cooking, first of all, and then we'll go into the specifics of your country and your culture. So Manuel,
Sounds great.
what's the cooking passion that, sparked in you?
Well, actually, when I was growing up, my mom was a really good cook, and she would cook for other people. We would host people at our house all the time. And she also cooked for Americans who came to visit the country, and they would stay for months, and she would cook for them just because she thought they would be more familiar with her food than anything else that they could find in the country. Not saying that it's not good, but everyone's taste is different and used to certain types of meals or traditions. And yeah, she would do that. So I think that's when it started. Then when I grew up, when I was about 12, she opened up a bakery here in our country, and it was
Wow.
really successful. It was really big. And I guess that's where I got it from. I got into bakery first, and then I got into cooking. But I can't really say that I learned from her. The passion started with her, but I did not learn from her.
So what, I understand that you do a lot of kind of international cooking, and
I
you
do.
traveled to the States. So
I do.
kind of explain that. How does that culture kind of factor into your passion for cooking?
Well, I've been in love with food for such a long time. And traveling has really opened my eyes and my mind to different foods, from all over the world. Italian, we can talk about Italian cuisine. We can talk about French. We can talk about Indian. We can talk about food from the Middle East that I love so much. Greek food. I mean, Asian food. I'm just all about it. And so I guess traveling a little has helped with that. I lived in Brazil for a few months, and Brazil also has a very diverse culture, very different. And I guess that helped. If you do hear like a parrot in the background, yes, that is my parrot. So yeah, I
That's
guess
so neat.
that's how traveling has helped or inspired me in my cooking.
Awesome. Thank you, Manuel. Thanks for
Mm-hmm.
sharing. And tell us more about your country and your culture.
Oof, more about my country. Well, we like to consider our country the belly button of Central America because we're right in the middle. And we consider ourselves a five-star country because we have beautiful coasts, we have Mayan ruins, we have great places to go to if you come here as a tourist. And yeah, it's a beautiful country. Our cuisine is not as diverse as I think it should be because of all the beauty that surrounds us and how blessed we are with such great agriculture and
Mhm.
a land that is just so incredible to grow fruits and vegetables or whatever it is. But mostly our culture.
I can't hear you. There we go. We're having some connection issues. Manuel's back, and let's see. Can we hear you now?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. The internet has been crazy here in Honduras lately. I don't know why. Yesterday and the day before yesterday on Thursday, I had two different lives from work, and it was complicated. It was really hard to get online, and I don't know what's going on. And I was in a total different city, so it must be the rain. Let's
Yeah.
blame it on the rain.
We'll do
So as I
that.
was
We're
telling
expecting
you,
some here too.
yeah. So as I was telling you, our food is mostly based off of beans, eggs, corn. We have a lot of that going on in our culture. If you visit the most traditional parts or not like the major cities of our country, that's mostly what you're going to find. So it's pretty much very similar to Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. We all have the same main components in our meals or dishes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what about, different meals of the day? I understand you've lived in the United States for a
Hmm.
period of time and you're kind of familiar with, okay, so we eat cereal for breakfast. What is a typical breakfast in Honduras like?
This is actually breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. I cannot go about my day without having breakfast. And I love Honduran breakfasts, the traditional ones, of course. I love them because they're so filling. They'll keep you full for the longest periods of time, all the way to lunch. It's incredible. So it's usually kidney beans, either fried or just cooked, not straight out of a can. We cook them raw, and it's either that or with eggs. You can scramble them, you can make them sunny side up as you wish, but eggs. And then some sort of chorizo. Are you familiar with chorizo?
Yes, like a spicy
Okay.
sausage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Something like that, or some sort of like grilled beef, or like just like a little piece of meat of some sort, but not chicken. It has to be either some sort of chorizo or some sort of beef.
Okay.
Usually skirt. And what else? We use a lot of sour cream in our breakfasts, like a dollop of sour cream in there with the beans is really good. And then a little bit of cheese. We like queso fresco or queso crema. Those are the ones that we use the most. Or a little bit of ricotta that we call requesón in Spanish.
Right.
And it's very good. The one that's produced locally is really, really good. And avocado tortillas.
Mm.
I've been on a diet for a really long time, so I will usually just do the beans, the eggs, and a little bit of avocado and ricotta. That's about it. That's as far as I'm gonna go. I avoid the tortillas because of the corn, but that is what it traditionally looks like.
Sounds delicious.
It is.
And
It
then
is.
which meal is kind of the center of the biggest one of the day? Is it lunch or is it dinner?
It's lunch. I know that for Americans, it's dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Because in America, a sandwich will usually do for lunch, even if it's just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I don't mind it. I love it. Um, Especially a pesto sandwich. I'm all about it. But here it's lunch. Usually it's like rice with some sort of a stew, and maybe a side salad. And that's usually it. Most homes that you go to, not depending on social classes or anything, that's usually what they'll have.
Okay,
Yeah.
very neat. And what about restaurants? What is the restaurant scene in Honduras? Are there ethnic, like an Italian restaurant, or how do
Yes.
you distinguish which ones are most popular to your country?
There's a lot of different restaurants here, and just recently over the pandemic, a lot of new restaurants opened, which I think is a little bit shocking and crazy because at the beginning of the pandemic, most of them had to file for bankruptcy because they were not getting customers in, right? Or orders to deliver or anything. And they were having a really hard time. But right now, lots of new restaurants are opening. We have a few Greek restaurants opening nationwide, and they're really good. I already tried a few of them, and they're great. We have a lot of Middle Eastern restaurants, like of places like Palestine and just Middle Eastern places. They make hummus, they make
Mm.
shawarma and pita and all these good things that I love. We have a few of those in our country. We have a few Italian places. People here are kind of really in love with pizza, so you're going to find a
Okay.
lot of pizzerias that are really good. Not all of them are like traditional Italian, but they're still really good. They're like um, mixed with another culture, like combined, like Italian and let's say French. And you're going to find different kinds of pizzas that you're probably not going to find in Italy, but they're still very good. And there are, let me think. Uh, that's mostly what I can think of, honestly.
Okay,
That's
that's
mostly what I can
awesome.
think of. And lots of American restaurants, of course. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, they serve a variety of sandwiches, soups, salads, and all that stuff. Hmm.
Wow. So what is the experience of eating at say, a local restaurant?
Oof, a local restaurant. Usually you're going to find those either in smaller towns or on the side of the road. And
Okay.
if you find them on the side of the road, they're usually going to have like a nice patio and a few tables outside for you to dine in. And they're going to have some sort of beans, eggs, tortillas, cheese, and sour cream. That's usually what it's going to for sure be in the menu.
Okay.
And our most traditional dish is called baleadas. That is what we are known for in Honduras. And baleadas are just flour tortillas spread with fried beans, refried beans, scrambled eggs, chorizo, sour cream, avocado, and you can just put anything inside of them and they're really good.
Huh.
And so you're usually going to find those for breakfast and dinner.
Wow. Are they kind of served flat or folded
No,
around?
you fold them. You don't roll them
Okay.
up as you would a taco, but you
Uh-huh.
fold them. A lot of people say that they are like the Honduran version of a taco.
Okay.
I'm reading a comment about baleadas, you see? Ah, those are the
I do
yummiest.
see.
The shops at the side of the road. They really are, especially when you're driving, like when you're on a road trip, and you find one of these places and they're like heaven sent because they're so good.
So you're just driving along and you're like I'm getting hungry, and then you
Yep.
just chocolate one. And do you have a favorite one in particular?
You know what? I think I don't. There's this place that we go to with my parents when my sister lives in a different city than I do. She's like about 3 hours and a half away from me. So
Okay.
it's quite a bit of a drive. And there's this place that does not even have a name, but they're known for having fresh cuts every single morning,
Mm,
like fresh steak, right? Um, because I told you for breakfast they serve some sort of beef, right?
yeah.
And it's just such a good place, but it has no name, so I don't even know what to call it, but it's really good. It is.
Awesome. Definitely have to put that on my list if I ever make it to Honduras.
Well, I hope you do.
So, Manuel, talk to us about dessert, right? So, your mom opened up a bakery. Dessert's part of your family tradition, if you will. What is dessert like in Honduras? And what are
Well,
your favorites?
have you ever had arroz con leche or rice
No,
pudding?
it's yeah, rice pudding, and I don't know if it's made similarly in your country though.
Yes, I think it's pretty much the same. It's cooked
Okay.
rice that after you cook it in water, you're just going to add milk or sweetened condensed milk with a combination of evaporated milk.
Mm.
Um, and then you're going to add like a few cinnamon sticks to flavor it. If you didn't add sweetened condensed milk, you can add sugar, and you're just going to let it like cook it down a little bit. But most people in our country, they actually like it very juicy, so they don't allow it to cook down as much. And my mom, for example, she will add lime peel to it, like lime
Oh,
skin, and it's really good. It infuses such a good flavor to it. And she'll add raisins, and that's probably my favorite traditional dessert from our country. I
mhm.
make my own with a twist. You know,
Okay.
we're in the coast. We have beautiful beaches. We get great coconut here. So I usually add coconut milk to mine instead of regular milk. And I, I think it's like rice pudding, but it's inspired, like Thai inspired, like from Thailand, you know?
Yeah.
And coconut milk. And then after it's done, I add fresh mango on top and chopped cranberry raisins. And it's delicious.
Yum. I can
It's
imagine your
delicious.
mango is top. I was
Yeah.
I spent a couple months in Mexico, and when I was there, mango, it just opened my eyes to a whole new world of fruit in Central America.
Yes. And Emma here is mentioning, she's talking about tabletas de coco and
Uh-huh.
dulce de leche. Those are very traditional too. I actually got some 2 days ago. This is just like, after you make coconut milk. I don't know if you know the process of making coconut milk. If you're
No.
familiar with it, okay, it's very simple. You're just going to grab coconut flesh, add a little bit of water, and put it inside the blender. And you're going to
Oh,
blend it. Pulse, 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 pulse until you get coconut milk.
wow.
That's it. That's
Easy.
what you get off a can. That's what you get like inside of a box. That's it. It's very easy to make. And so after that's done, the pulp that's left over, people will usually cook that with sugar, and that will turn into tableta de coco. It'll harden with
Uh-huh.
time. Like if you leave it out for a day, it'll harden. Some people will roll it into balls and let it harden as a ball. Other people will lay it flat on like parchment paper, and then they'll cut it into pieces, and it's really yummy. And dulce de leche is simply milk cooked down with sugar. So
Okay.
it's reduced with sugar, so it's sweet, it's creamy, and it's very yummy.
Is it similar to caramel? Are
It
you familiar
is
with?
kind of, yes, it is kind of.
Okay.
Yes.
And
It's
so how is it
it's
served?
what? Pardon me?
How is dulce de leche served?
It's just eaten like that. Sometimes
Okay.
when it's soft, you'll eat it with a spoon. If it's already hardened, you'll eat it with your hand.
Wow. I
Yeah.
know of like ice cream flavors that are flavored like that.
Yes, yes, totally. Usually they use the softer versions of this to make ice cream to
Okay.
keep it creamy, you know? And I honestly really like these, both of them.
Awesome.
And
Um,
someone said mango is yum, and I couldn't agree more.
yes. So one other thing that I was thinking of while we are talking about desserts and we're talking about, milk and then coconut milk. What about drinks, Manuel? What is coffee like for Hondurans?
Well, we grow incredible coffee here in our country. We are known for having some of the best coffee in the world. It's
Mhm.
really, really, really high quality coffee. Like the people who specialize in coffee here in our country, they know what they're doing because it's sold all over the world. The United States, Italy, France, all over the world you can find our different coffees grown at different heights that infuse the coffee beans with different flavors, and there's such a technique to it. It's great. But for most of Hondurans, I think I don't drink coffee myself. I have actually never had a cup of coffee in my life, but
Wow.
I know what my friends drink. So for most of Hondurans, actually, coffee will be just black coffee with a splash of creamer or milk, something like that. Some people will go through a drive-through and they'll ask for a vanilla iced latte, and stuff like that. More Americanized stuff with a few pumps of syrup and that kind of stuff. But traditional coffee is usually just black coffee with a splash of milk or creamer.
Okay. And is it a evening and morning thing?
Oof, that's complicated because I know some people who drink up to like 6 cups of coffee a day.
Oh, well.
But usually people will have coffee for breakfast, and
Uh-huh.
maybe at around 4 in the afternoon, they'll have a cup of coffee with bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like in France, you're going to get like a little biscuit right next to your cup of coffee.
Yeah.
The same applies to Honduras, but usually it's traditional breads, not like a biscuit or a
Okay.
cracker.
It's just something, a little snack, right?
A little snack, yes.
So,
Mhm.
Manuel, what is like the holidays like? I know, we've talked on the side about how Mother's Day and Father's Day don't always follow on the same day for Father's Day, which I thought
Mhm.
was really unique. So, how does food kind of work into your holidays?
Let me talk about the biggest holiday in the country, and that's I'll talk about two: New
Okay.
Year's Eve and Christmas Eve. These
Uh-huh.
two are our biggest holidays. Unlike most places of the world, we are not as festive for New Year's Day and Christmas Day.
Oh,
We
wow.
celebrate New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve, like big time. Fireworks, everything. Everyone gets dressed up at night. We have like dancing, lots of food. And it's usually a party that's held at night, not during the day. But it's really nice. Families gather. The food is incredible. Most people will make tamales. They're different to Mexican tamales. They are completely different, actually. They're
How?
more similar to they're more similar to tamales that are made in Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. Just because I don't know, all of these countries from Central America have pretty much the same foods. Like if I was to go to Guatemala, I probably wouldn't miss my food as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so our tamales are usually wrapped instead of a corn leaf, they're going to be wrapped in a plantain leaf or a banana
Uh-huh.
leaf. And
Okay.
that makes the color a little different. The dough is not as dull, it's softer. It's like more silky. I don't know how to describe
Hmm.
it. It's more buttery.
Okay.
And it has a piece of meat in the middle. Most people make them with rice. They stuff them with rice, olives, chickpeas. What else do they put inside of them? Raisins and these kinds of
Wow.
stuff. And they wrap them up, they cook them, and they have tamales on their tables for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and also Christmas Day and New Year's Day. I mean, leftovers, right?
Yeah.
And and we'll usually have pork and turkey. We have both. In some places of our country, some people they cook like a tiny baby pig, and they cook like the entire thing with its head on and everything, like the entire thing. And they're gonna bake it, or they're going to. I don't know how they do it, to be honest, but they do it. At my house, we just make like a pork loin or a pork leg or something like that, and It's really good. It takes tons of hours in the oven. What, about 6 to 10 hours maybe? If you want really soft, tender meat, it's
Uh-huh.
going to be about 10 hours or more if you can. It's going to be that much more tender. And my mom is usually basting it off with like some sort of liquid. Sometimes she'll use some sort of stock combined with orange juice or passion fruit juice just to infuse it with like a sweeter touch, and it's delicious. It's delicious.
That's awesome.
And so there's that. And then we also have like a side of salads, and we also have mashed potatoes, some sort of traditional rice. My mom doesn't really make traditional Honduran rice for Christmas. She makes this sweeter rice with raisins and apples and almonds that is really good. And yeah, that's what we have for Christmas. Oh, and bread rolls, of course.
Okay. And then the dessert, is it arroz
Yes,
con
dessert.
leche?
Dessert is on me. I'll usually
Okay.
make monkey bread.
Uh-huh. And
Yes,
what
I
what
love monkey bread. I'm such a fan.
oh, that's awesome. Do you make the dough from scratch as well?
I do. I do.
Nice.
I do.
Awesome.
I make everything from scratch, and then I actually use dulce de leche to top it off. You know,
Wow.
most people, they'll make like a little glaze with powdered sugar and maybe lime juice or milk or something. I use dulce de leche and maybe like a mixed nuts kind of thing, like chopped nuts, and then I'll sprinkle them on top with fresh coconut flakes or something, and it's delish.
Yum. It's just 4 months away, right?
Yes, it's just 4 months away. But I'll make it every single time I have an excuse to make it.
That's true. Awesome. Thank you for all of this information, Manuel. And again, to everyone watching, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments and tag at thankmelater.10. That is Manuel's handle. And Manuel, also, where can we find more of your content? You know, I've talked about your Instagram. Kind of tell us what your Instagram is all about and where we can find more of what you do with food.
Well, I actually opened up Thank Me Later. I have my personal Instagram account. Anyone who desires to follow me there can follow me. It's Manuel .jaco 94. That's it. And no, sorry, I got it wrong. It's Manuel .jaco. No, it's Manuel JACO .10. I don't know why I get it wrong. But I'm actually going to leave it on the comments for anyone who chooses to follow me there.
Perfect.
And lots of friends, family members, acquaintances, they told me, you cook such great food. And I would post it on my stories on my personal page, and everyone would just tell me, like, we need you to open like an Instagram page where you can post the recipes for these meals because they look good, and we need the recipes. And so I was a little hesitant at first if I should do that or not, a little skeptical. And then I just thought to myself, why not? Let's jump into this. So it started first as more of like a familiar, friendly kind of page. It was open to anyone, right? And it still
Uh-huh.
is, but it was mostly for my friends and my family. But it's grown a little. I try to share as often as I can, but I've been so busy over the last few weeks that sharing has been really hard. But I
Mhm.
promise I'll get better at it, and I'll share more pesto recipes and stuff. Um, Speaking of pesto, I actually found purple basil the other day.
Oh,
So I really
at a
want to
grocery store?
try. What?
At a grocery store?
Yeah, at a
Or
grocery
like a
store.
market?
So I really want to try to make purple pesto. And I'll let
Ooh,
you know how it turns out. If it turns out good,
yes.
I'm going to post a recipe.
Okay.
So,
If it doesn't turn out good, still send a picture because I'd love to see it.
yes, I'll show you for sure. And so I'm going to do that. But yeah, that's where you can find me at thankmelater.10. I'm here. I reply to all of my DMs. So if you have any questions about food, anything really, I think I have pretty decent knowledge from foods all over the world. So you can ask me anything. I'm here. I don't know if
Awesome.
I'll have the
And
answers to everything, but I'll try.
for sure. And you're also, I know you post when your recipes are both in English and Spanish. So it's great,
They are.
anyone who's watching that speaks Spanish, that is, your
It's
native
there.
language, and yeah.
Yeah, it's there. And if my friends from Brazil would like their recipes in Portuguese, I wouldn't mind posting them in Portuguese either.
Awesome. And a little bit of Italian skill there too, right, Manuel?
Yes. But you know what? That's really funny because I took a year of Italian in school, and I thought I got it down pretty well. I never thought that I was completely fluent, but I thought I could get along. And when I got to Brazil, I was like, I got to the airport and people started to talk to me in Portuguese, and I was so lost with the language, and my brain was automatically like Italian. And I would respond to everyone in Italian, and people would be like, "What is he saying?" And to me, it was like the most normal thing in the world. And
Yeah.
then as the months went by, it was like Portuguese replaced the Italian in my mind.
Mm,
And now I've kind of gotten it back a little bit, but it's taken some time and some listening to music and movies and, yeah, and
yeah.
a little practice.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be consistent with those languages. And
Mm-hmm.
again, your English is wonderful. It's been great talking to you, Manuel.
Thank you. It's
You're
been
welcome.
such a pleasure, really.
Thank you. And again, I'll just, shout out anyone if you have any questions about Honduras, cooking, whatever you wish, post it in the comments. We want to thank Manuel for his time today. And yeah, just joining us, taking the time out of your weekend. I know you're super busy with a new job and everything, so thank you so much. We look
Thank
forward to
you.
talking more.
Thank you. Thank you. And to everyone who's watching, you know where to find me. I'm here. So thank you, Jessica. Thank you for the opportunity and the time. It was great. Such a
You're so
pleasure.
welcome. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You too, and to everyone watching as well. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.